Coming up on NewsCenter 6 tonight, another day of waiting for the people involved in the Henry Schmersel case.
Two more politicians add their names to this year's list of congressional candidates. There may be more pay in store for Maine's future governors.
Will a Colorado resort town become the country's first fur-free city? Plus, a trip to Valentine, Virginia.
And Bruce with the start of a long road trip for the Celtics. All ahead on NewsCenter.
Get the look for less, 20 to 40% less during the sale at Young. 20 to 40% off Henriton, Knob Creek, and James River. 20 to 40% off all furnishings at Young. Your look, the right look, 20 to 40% off during the sale at Young.
I've got one word of advice for any of you guys with teenage kids. Seaborn. You see, I was a tough kid. I had my first beer when I was 10, my first joint when I was 12. By 16, I was so tough I almost OD'd at a party one night. That's when my parents made me visit Seaborn Hospital. I felt like hell, but I went. Now, I'm 19, I'm straight, and I'm alive. Tough kids need tough parents.
Callaghan, Cindy Williams, Bruce Glazier, Joe Cupo, and the NewsCenter team. This is NewsCenter 6 tonight.
Good evening, everyone. The waiting continues tonight for the family of Henry Schmersel.
A decision is now expected tomorrow on whether criminal charges should be brought against the Mexico police officer who chased Schmersel into the woods just before he died. It appears testimony before an Oxford County grand jury is taking longer than expected, delaying a decision until tomorrow. Tonight we have two reports, beginning with NewsCenter's Chris Rose.
Inside the Schmersel home today, Henry's mother and brother Kevin waited nervously but patiently for the phone to ring. Finally, around 3 o'clock, they received word it would be at least one more day of waiting. The incident happened back in October, and the family has spent the last 4 months waiting for action to be taken against Officer Robert Sloma. The waiting must be hard on the Sloma family as well. The officer has been on leave from the department pending the outcome of the state's investigation. We've learned that key testimony in this case could come from Sloma's fellow officer Bob Gallant, seen here with town manager Timothy Kelcourse the morning after the Schmersel incident.
Anything you can tell us about that night that we haven't heard yet?
No, not now.
Yesterday, Gallant had no comment when he arrived for the grand jury hearing. People in town we talked with say tensions are high in Mexico and will remain that way until this matter is resolved.
I think tensions are pretty tight between the police force and the local people. I mean, people are kind of worried about getting picked out. And I think it's been way too long for this decision to come down.
I think it's probably just one incident, you know, but people are going to be a little more cautious about somebody stopping them. They're going to be a little more afraid.
Chris Rose, NewsCenter.
What may be reasonable to some may be unreasonable to others. But it's how a grand jury interprets the word reasonable that may hold the key to the entire outcome of this case.
Maine law guides police officers in two categories of force: non-deadly force, such as physically restraining a person, and deadly force, such as using a weapon. The law says non-deadly force is justifiable when a police officer reasonably believes it's necessary to arrest a person or prevent that person from escaping. And an officer is justified using deadly force only when he believes a person has committed a crime using a weapon, or that a dangerous weapon is being used during an escape, or lives are being endangered.
The one thing muddying the waters in this case is that Henry Schmersel was handcuffed behind his back when rescue workers began trying to save his life. What's not so clear is whether Schmersel was handcuffed before or after any confrontation with Mexico police officer Robert Sloma. That's what a grand jury will try to decide. In Portland, John Impebna, NewsCenter.
We do expect a decision in the Schmersel case tomorrow, and we'll bring it to you as soon as it happens.
A Bethel man died this afternoon in a skiing accident at the Sunday River Resort. A collision with another skier on a difficult trail of Barker Mountain sent an 18-year-old man 30 feet into a stand of trees. The victim's name has not yet been released. The other skier suffered only minor injuries. A pair of political announcements today came as no surprise, but provided a touch of irony. Senator William Cohen said he'd like 6 more years in Washington to keep working for Maine.
For me, Maine has always come first, and it always will. And I'm here today to make one simple statement, and that is I feel that I have much more to give to the people who have given so much to me.
Meanwhile, the woman Cohen trounced in his last re-election bid 6 years ago jumped back into the political arena today, but this time running for Congress. Former legislator and state housing director Libby Mitchell said she's entering the Democratic primary in the 1st District. She says her message is simple.
A place to live, a place to learn, and a place to work for all Maine people. I've been very involved in housing issues for the past 3.5 years, and I see that touching on so many aspects of Maine life. It certainly speaks to the economy, its slowdown and its build-up. It speaks to human dignity.
There are 4 other candidates who have announced or will soon announce for the Democratic primary in the 1st District.
Should tax chiefs be given a break in the name of balancing the budget? That is the question facing a state taxation committee as it considers the governor's tax amnesty plan. Governor McKernan says the state could generate $15 million by offering a deal to delinquent taxpayers, pay up within a 2-month period, owe only half the interest, and suffer no penalties. The idea got a cool reception, though, today from Democrats on the committee who say rather than take it easy on tax dodgers, the state should more strictly enforce tax laws. And a proposal to raise the governor's salary isn't sitting well with members of the Appropriations Committee. Lawmakers now dealing with a multi-million-dollar deficit will take up the issue tomorrow, but already the idea is being criticized in Augusta. Some lawmakers are calling the proposed 25% pay raise excessive in this year of austerity. McKernan would not see the raise. By law, it could not take effect until a new governor is elected. New Hampshire's budget troubles will cost 200 to 250 state employees their jobs. Legislative leaders today accepted Governor Gregg's layoff proposals as part of a developing package of spending cuts and tax increases to make up a $180 million shortfall.
2 Maine banks facing the possibility of federal intervention are tightening up their loan procedures. NewsCenter's Richard Rose reports small borrowers especially will feel the pinch.
Maine Savings is under federal order to eliminate bad loans and increase its cash flow. The president of Maine Savings calls it weeding the garden. Maine National is a bank that is burdened by the bad loans of its owner, Bank of New England. Loan officers tell us that both banks are tightening lending practices. For unsecured personal loans, Maine Savings is no longer making them. Maine National still does, with a $1,000 minimum. As for home equity borrowing, both banks have eliminated smaller loans. Last year, you could borrow as little as $1,000 from Maine Savings and $5,000 from Maine National. Now, a homeowner wanting a loan would have to borrow more, $2,500 from Maine Savings and $10,000 from Maine National.
Both banks face another threat, the loss of large deposits. The state banking superintendent says that some big institutions and some Maine towns and cities are moving money out of the bank because the federal government does not insure deposits above $100,000.
Banking Superintendent Don DeMattis told us certainly an outflow of deposits does not help the situation, but he emphasizes that if either bank fails, all depositors of $100,000 or less would get their money almost immediately. Both banks are emphasizing the federal protection because they need to hold on to their deposits if they're going to get healthy again. In Portland, Richard Rose, NewsCenter.
Great Northern Nakusa has decided a good way to fight the Georgia Pacific takeover attempt is to try to find a friendly buyer. Great Northern officials now say recent circumstances have led them to reconsider the idea of a merger, but they want a higher price than the $63 a share offered by GP.
Well, it is Valentine's Eve, and of course that means a trip to Valentine, Virginia. We'll have that story a little later.
But one very famous marriage is short on romance these days. The Trumps are on the rocks.
Nothing something moves you.
It's the Washington's Birthday Sales Drive.
That's right.
And your Lincoln Mercury dealer's present to you is a free extended service plan. Plus, big cashback savings on every Mercury Cougar, every Sable, every Topaz, and every Grand Marquis we sell. We've got great deals, a $170 million inventory, and a free extended service plan during the Washington's Birthday Sales Drive now through February 24th at your New England Lincoln Mercury dealer. See him today.
To demonstrate the new Kick the Habit gradual smoking withdrawal system, we're comparing nicotine to the grasp of a beast. But with the Kick the Habit Level 1 filter, your nicotine intake is reduced. You'll feel more like this. In a week, switch to Level 2. The grasp of nicotine is reduced even more.
Week 3, Level 3. Now you're ready to quit. And the monkey's off your back. Kick the Habit, the gradual smoking withdrawal system.
Secretary of State James Baker is heading home to Washington with a superpower troop reduction agreement in his pocket. The U.S. and the Soviet Union have reportedly agreed on a deal that will sharply reduce troop deployments in Central Europe. The pact is being heralded as paving the way to a NATO Warsaw Pact treaty to limit conventional forces in Europe. Nelson Mandela received a massive welcome home today in the South African township of Soweto. The leader of the South African National Congress told a crowd of 120,000 the march toward freedom and justice is irreversible. He also said whites must be reassured that a country without apartheid will be a better place for all.
Police in British Columbia say 3 armed men have seized a school bus full of high school students. Reports on the number of students being held hostage range from 7 to 18. Police have apparently agreed to the gunman's demands for a getaway car. Winds gusting to 40 miles an hour are making the California oil cleanup job tougher. The winds are pushing more of the crude ashore, and authorities are quickly training cleanup reinforcements to help sop up the mess. The American Trader, the ship that spilled 400,000 gallons of oil, is now docked in Long Beach Harbor for repairs. A heavy turnout is reported in Aspen, Colorado. Residents of that trendy ski resort town are deciding whether they should ban fur sales in their community. The issue has divided the town, with supporters of the ban denouncing animal cruelty and opponents saying the wearing of fur is a matter of individual freedom.
They may not fight over furs, but they might about everything else. Billionaire developer Donald Trump and his wife Ivana are reportedly splitting, physically, but not necessarily financially. Under a prenuptial agreement, Mrs. Trump would get $25 million. But the New York Post says Ivana wants 6 times that much, $150 million.
We've geared up so that we're ready for the 90s with the cars that are coming and the cars that we have here today. There's nothing on the market today that we cannot offer in a passenger vehicle. If you high pressure a customer into buying a car that they can't afford, you will not get them back again for their next automobile. You won't get them to recommend friends or relatives to buy a car. It's just not the way we do business.
Joining the ranks of the great sandwiches of the world, we proudly present the Dunkin' Donuts croissant sandwich in 9 varieties, from chicken salad to bacon and egg with cheese. They're made to order night and day and served warm on our freshly baked croissants. So try Dunkin' Donuts croissant sandwiches and be prepared for greatness. Now at Dunkin' Donuts, get a made-to-order egg and cheese croissant sandwich at a made-to-order price, just 99 cents. If it's out there, it's in here. The 9X Yellow Pages. Why would anyone need another?
It's the big Dodge President's Birthday celebration.
The guaranteed rebate
An American success story
has been extended.
Up to $1,500 every 90 American-built car.
Introducing Dodge Monaco.
A new car!
Ask about our $50 test drive offer.
It's the President's Birthday Celebration.
Ends February 28th. At your Dodge dealer.
Pretty brisk evening out there tonight.
Yeah, it's kind of nice, actually. It's mild. Temperatures haven't gone down much since 6 o'clock. It's always nice to say that at 11 o'clock. In fact, at 11 o'clock, the temperature in Portland comes in at 37 degrees. There it is. That's pretty good for this time of year. At 11, relative humidity 79%. We have a northerly wind now, 3 miles an hour, and the barometric pressure is falling. It's been falling all night. Comes in at 11 at 29.81 inches. Cold front has been bearing down on us since early this morning, and it certainly has brought its share of moisture across New England. You can see all the clouds. This photo goes back to about 8 this morning. You can see all the white stuff back here, and boom, in it came today. Not as much sunshine. As of 9 o'clock, there were a few breaks popping up over northern parts of New Hampshire and Maine, but they're not going to last because there's still a lot more moisture back here to the west. Now, because of these clouds, temperatures aren't going down very much. As you can see, they're still in the 30s and above freezing in most spots, although, as so often is the case, in the higher elevations up here in the foothills, temperatures right around the freezing mark. It's 31 in Rumford, 30 in Moscow, and 32 in Roscommon, but everybody else, as you can see, mid to upper 30s. In fact, it's 42 now in Portsmouth and 41 in Concord. Now, in addition to the clouds, we have pretty strong winds picking up from the south. Look at today's high temperatures, and they're not too different from the 11 o'clock readings. So those southerly winds and clouds helping to keep temperatures up tonight, and that's always good news. And this frontal system, in addition to bringing us a wind, there's also some rain occurring across parts of western New York. And as this front pushes through later tonight, my guess is we'll see some of those showers as well. So you folks who have temperatures at or near or below the freezing mark, be careful, because their roads could become slick. Okay, let's have a look at the marine forecast. You'll see that the Weather Service now has issued a gale warning because those southwesterly winds are very strong, 25 to 35 knots with higher gusts. Those winds will shift around to the northwest after midnight tonight, about 15 to 25 knots with higher gusts, at which point I'm sure the gale warning will be downgraded to a small craft advisory. Tomorrow, look for north and northwesterly winds at 15 to 25 knots. Seas are going to run 6 to 10 feet tonight, subsiding between 2 and 4 tomorrow, and visibility between 1 and 3 miles in those upcoming showers, otherwise over 5. Interesting day across New England. You can see temperatures mostly in the 20s and 30s, but as you go to the southwest, it gets warmer, 40s, 50s, look at all the 60s and 70s. Numerous record highs again set over that part of the U.S. Baltimore today made it to 64, but look at this cold air coming down from Canada. Temperatures across northern Minnesota, North Dakota, Montana today in the single numbers. Some spots up here never made it above 0, and this colder air is slowly working its way southward and eastward. The leading edge of it actually is the cold front that we saw earlier. So once this thing goes by, winter will be returning. Now, things are going to get rather interesting. There's not too much moisture associated with this front right now, and by tomorrow, about midday, it'll be off the coast. This ridge of high pressure will clear us out quite nicely. But the scenario will be a lot more moisture down here, as I'm showing with the computer. There'll be rain across parts of PA and Ohio, and snow farther to the north. And this moisture will be moving up in here during the early morning hours on Thursday, and that's why I say behind this front, a return to winter. So, our forecast for tonight is calling for a few scattered showers, low temperatures mostly between 30 and 35 degrees, and winds will go from the southwest to the northwest behind that cold front. Tomorrow, it may not start out sunny, but the sunshine should make it out there, so I'll call it partly sunny. High temperatures 35 to 40 as the clouds slowly melt away, and winds will be from the north. The clouds will roll back in here tomorrow night, and some snow should break out in extreme southern sections towards daybreak, with low temperatures near 20, and Thursday does not look like a good day. Snow, there's a good chance it'll mix with sleet. That might cut down on the accumulations, but won't make driving any better. High temperatures in the 20s, and we might even see some snow hanging around on Friday as well. In the almanac data, tomorrow morning, high tide 147 in Portland, low tide at 7:58, and then high at 2:07 in the afternoon. Sunrise at 6:42, and set 10 minutes past 5. The groundhog this year did not know what it was talking about.
He was confused.
Yeah, he said it was supposed to be an early spring.
No.
An early spring.
Sounds
He was a little bewildered, though.
Yeah, I think so. Now we're bewildered.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
The Celtics were in Houston tonight, starting off a big road trip.
But the question on everybody's mind was, can Larry do it? Bruce will tell us, coming up next.
Save now at the Washington's birthday sale at your Chrysler Plymouth dealers. Get a $1,000 guaranteed rebate on Chrysler LeBaron Premium Coupe with powerful 3-liter fuel-injected engine and Ultra Drive, the world's most advanced automatic transmission. LeBaron Coupe, $1,000 cash back. Hurry, the rebate and the sale end February 28th.
America's way to go.
Don't miss out. See your New England Chrysler Plymouth dealers now.
Hi, I'm Bob Cole. Dreaming about family camping? Come to the 20th Annual Maine Camping and RV Show, Portland Expo, February 16 to 18. Don't wait. Start your summer planning now. Camping is low cost and fun for the whole family. The Maine Camp and RV Show is Maine's oldest outdoor product show. Our special guest is Maine's own Tim Sample, appearing on Saturday and Sunday. Come to the Camp Show, Portland Expo, February 16 to 18, co-hosted by 96.7 WCME-FM.
Picked out Allison's ring yet, Jim?
Not yet, Dad. I'm confused. All these wild advertising claims like bargains and 50% off. Off of what?
Well, that's why your mother and I always go back to people we trust.
Oh, you mean?
Cross Jewelers. They're a quality company with a wonderful reputation. Finest jewelers in town, no doubt about it.
Aren't they too expensive for me?
No, their name carries a lot of prestige, but you don't pay extra for it. Jim, you can count on the folks at Cross Jewelers.
As big as cars. Sunday River, you've got to ski it to believe it.
A busy night in sports. We got some good basketball, good hockey, too.
Good hockey for the Maine Black Bears tonight. Kind of a cakewalk as the hockey team extended its Hockey East League lead to 3 points over second-place Boston College. They did it tonight with a 7-2 win over Lowell. NewsCenter's Dave Valors has the story.
Maine jumped on Lowell from the opening faceoff. Defenseman Dan Murphy rifles home his first collegiate goal. Maine led 3-0. Lowell came right back. Scott King is caught out of the net, and Brendan Flynn has the empty net goal. Maine led 3-2 after 1. The final 2 periods belong to the Black Bears. Martin Robitaille threads one through to Randy Olson, and he beats Richards with the backhander. 30 seconds later, it's Olson again. A tremendous effort to feed Jean-Yves Roy for his 31st goal of the year. Maine coast to its 26th win of the year, 7-2 over Lowell.
We played a very, very strong first period. I was a little concerned only to be ahead 3-2, having played that well, but I give Lowell credit. They hung in there, and they're scrappy clubs.
At Alfond Arena, Dave Valors, NewsCenter.
One other college game tonight, the Bowdoin Polar Bears in Salem skated to a 5-5 tie. Brad Chin of Bowdoin is now 1 point shy of career 100 points. The Maine Mariners broke their 3-game losing streak, winning on the road against Newmarket 4-2. Ron Hoover, Scott Harlow each notched their 22nd and 23rd goals of the season. Norm Foster with 29 saves. Maine next up in Springfield Friday night against the Indians. On the National Hockey League scoreboard, the Rangers and Quebec were winners tonight. Calgary gets by the Islanders. St. Louis in overtime beats Minnesota. And Chicago does the Bruins a favor, beating Buffalo 4-1. We have to check your watch to see what time it is to see which team in Class A is hot in high school basketball. Parity rules in Western Maine. Tonight at the Portland Expo, the Bulldogs entertained the Cheverus Stags, the 121st meeting in the history of these two schools. After trailing by 6 at the half, Portland battled back. Dan Legage to Ron Crosby. He buries the 3. Bulldogs cashed in on 4 trifectas in the third. Here, Crosby returns the favor to Legage for 3. Game tied 46 after 3 quarters. Dogs stretch it to 54-48, a little more than 5 to play. Josh Whipple at Cheverus, offensive board, and then the bucket. In traffic, Whipple with a game-high 24. Stags also used the 3-point line. This is Eric Peters as Cheverus roars back to take command. Then it's Stevie Olson for 3 of his 17 points. Cheverus goes to 8-7 with a 73-66 win over Portland. By the way, the two teams have split the first 120 games, 60 apiece. High school basketball scoreboard, Sanford over Biddeford. Again, Cheverus beats Portland. Westbrook gets by Edward Little, and Lewiston over Bonnie Eagle. South Portland downs Massabesic, Madomic Valley over Mount Ararat. Brunswick over Winslow. Deering High defeats Noble 82-54. Rams now 12-3. Mark O'Brien follows his 41-point performance with 32 tonight. Girls basketball, Portland over Macaulay. And in college women's basketball, it was Colby getting 18 points from Lou Semino to beat Gordon 75-58. Boston Celtics got their 8-game road trip off on a winning note tonight, beating the Houston Rockets 107-94. Celtics started running in the first quarter. Larry Bird pops out here and throws up the jumper. 17-11 Celtics. Larry 25 in the first half, 38 for the game. End of the first, Bird misses the jumper. Buck Johnson gets the board and he throws it from half court. It only counts 3. Celtics up 55-49 at the end of the half. In the third, Larry steps to the line and misses a free throw. That ends his streak at 71 in a row. Calvin Murphy's record of 78 still stands. Down the stretch, the Celtics get a second win. They held Houston to just 17 in the final quarter. Look at this pass. Bagley to the Chief for the slam as the Celtics go on to win it 107-94. In the NBA scoreboard, Denver beats Detroit, New York over Atlanta. Indiana gets by Charlotte, while Chicago downs Miami. And it was Dallas over San Antonio. Spring training may not get underway on time. However, it's still fun to check in with the Red Sox, and their hottest subjects, of course, the need of a starting pitcher and Bill Buckner and his minor league contract. Here are Luke Gorman commenting on the pitching and Morgan on Buckner.
Our need right now to make us a strong, contending ball club is another solid starting pitcher in that rotation. So we've got to get one somewhere to help this ball club. If we can do that, this club could win this division.
When he first talked to me about trying to come back here, I wasn't that hep on it because I really didn't know how good he was in shape and all this kind of stuff. But as time went on, I said, well, heck, there's nothing to lose by this, and he might very well be the guy that'll take that job.
Mike Tyson also admitted tonight he lost the fight. 3 days later, so Douglas really hit him a lot harder than I thought.
Rang that bell. All right, thank you, Bruce. We'll be right back.
This is Paris, and I'm Tim Harris reporting. And down below...
At the last minute, I got this great chance to cover the bicentennial. Trouble is, it meant I was going to miss my folks' 50th anniversary.
John, look, you're going to have to cut me a bigger hole back then.
But I got this idea.
AT&T USA Direct,
Remember, honey, my parents got married in Paris.
What if I find a restaurant in the wedding photo?
This thing doesn't have any name on the restaurant.
And I'll find it. Just fax me the photo.
We're at the Bastille, where it all started 200 years ago. Behind me is a gale that was built... Sucks for you.
Restaurant?
C'est par là. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Tim.
Now, Dad, we want to take you and Mom to dinner.
Just a little place. French.
Happy anniversary.
I'm so glad you made that call.
AT&T Long Distance. No one else gives you this remarkable power to manage your world. No one.
Thank you for using AT&T.
If you've got a Valentine, but you don't have a Valentine's card or gift yet, well, you probably better start working on your Valentine's Day explanation. But if you're planning to send something in the mail, you might want to route it through Virginia. Valentine, Virginia, of course. In 39 years as Valentine's Day postmaster, Willie Wright has postmarked countless cards and letters and given them his special stamp.
Oh, I had this stamp made some 15, 20 years ago to decorate all Valentines that came in here, and I had no idea that this fancy stamp I had made would be sought after by so many people all over the world.
By the time this year's Valentine's traffic is cleared up, Wright and his co-workers will have hand-processed more than 100,000 letters. And that's a lot of stamping.
Then the guy moves on to Santa Claus, Missouri, to handle the Christmas mail, too. And that is NewsCenter for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you tomorrow.